here we are then, back with another My Team Career Mode video. I'd like to apologise again for the lack of face cam this video. I'm still having some teething issues with the camera getting it to work properly and consistently. But anyway, as you might remember, our debut last episode didn't go exactly to plan. We had quite a few incidents. A couple stand out, like the one with Gasly coming through the chicane in Australia. And then on the last lap we had that massive crash towards the end of the lap where we lost the entire front wing, which caused us to drop all the way back to 18th. So we'll be hoping to avoid mistakes like that and make up for those ones in the video today. But first, let's assign our activities for the weekend and then spend some of our R&D points, because we've got 1,270 of those, so I'm sure we can get some decent upgrades. Let's go with... we'll put our second driver through some G-force training and in his downtime so that his racecraft can be improved. God knows Mick Schumacher could use some improved racecraft. Not shots fired. And then, like I said last week, I don't really know what I'm doing here, so I'm pretty much just going to take whatever the game recommends to me. So we're going for some powertrain upgrades, which is going to spend pretty much all of our points. And then we'll check all our vehicle parts that all seem to be in fairly good condition at the moment. I'll probably not start swapping these out until after the third race, which is when these will be get a bit worn, and I'll just use them in practice, and then I'll use the newer parts in actual races. Oh, and we get to pick a secondary sponsor as well. Let's see who we've got. As much as it would be nice to go with someone who gives a good mix of weekly income and goal bonus, should probably try and find someone that at least gives us a decent goal bonus for a goal that we could actually achieve. Like, I mean, we could achieve that. Do 75 laps during a weekend. Unless one of us crashes out. I don't think that's going to be a hard one to fail on. Scoring points every weekend's probably out of the question. Complete all practice programs, I can do that, but I usually do practice off camera as well, so. Qualify P15 or better, that's a tempting one, because I don't think it's entirely unachievable, but at the same time the weekly income and the goal bonus isn't amazing. Okay, I think we're going to take this XXY sponsor. I think they've got a decent weekly income, 84k-ish, and they've got a pretty easy goal bonus, and 104k is definitely a decent amount of money for that kind of goal, so let's take on these guys. Okay, well I'll go back to here, we'll advance time, and then I'll go and get the practice done and out the way, and I'll see you when I get to qualifying. Okay then, now that all of our practice sessions are done and out the way, we can hop into some qualifying at Bahrain. And we'll just have to hope that it goes much better than our qualifying in Australia, where we only managed to do one lap and qualified dead last. But I'm not as good on this track, so I don't know how well that's going to work out. Wrong button. I'll head out onto track then. Hope that we can put in a decent lap. One car just in front of us, so I'll just ease off a little bit to make a bit of a gap for myself. And then we'll send it for the hot lap and see what happens. Did at least manage to go under 130, which is nice. It's definitely not the best lap of Bahrain I've ever done, but anything under 130 I'll definitely take. Just fast forward time a little bit and see what sort of times we're competing with. We're at least up into the sort of middle of the field now, rather than all the way at the back, which is it's good to know that our car definitely at least has some form of midfield pace.
So far, our fastest lap is a 1 minute 29.8.
Is there anybody out on track? There's the big map. The big map's here. It's just Ocon that's out on track at the moment. I'm expecting to see there's the flood of people trying to improve. I'm not entirely convinced I can go much quicker than that, to be honest. So I'm not going to bother going out again. We'll just hope we make it into Q2. Save our tires. So we did make it into Q2 at least. Our teammate did not. Both the Williams and both the Haas cars are out, and one of the Alphas in Q1. But we have survived, so we're already doing better than our debut. Improvements have been made. Normally I would think I'd probably want to start on the mediums, so that would suggest I should probably do a lap in mediums. But I'm not entirely convinced I'd make it into the top 10 even on the softs, so I'd still get free choice of tyre for being outside the top 10. So we're just going to stick with another set of softs and see if we can at least go a little bit quicker than our first hot lap. Although we're got a bit of traffic again, there's what I think is the Alpha of Kimi Räikkönen in front of us. Even if we can just shave 0.2 off this lap, I'd be really happy with that. So anything better than a 29.8 is a victory for us. And with a turn one like that, I don't think we're going to be shaving any tenths off. Tried to brake way too late for turn one. I also feel like I'm always so slow through the end of that sector for that sort of almost double left-hander before that straight there. I just feel like I can never get it quite on the nose, and I don't get the power out of it too well, which just makes me a bit slower on the straight. Something I can work on, because I don't want to lose too much time there. I mean, it's probably not going to make too much of a difference here, because I know I wasn't going to improve much anyway. But we don't want to lose too much time going into that straight on the race, because people are just going to bomb past us down there if we don't get a good exit. Fast forward a little bit, let people set some more laps, and we'll see where we're sitting. I mean, we're currently inside the top 10. With a 129.2. I might try going out on the mediums just while the track's empty. It's unlikely they will improve, but gives us an extra practice lap to work on that corner. And then if we happen to improve on the mediums and we're still inside the top 10 by the end of Q2, then I at least still get to start on the mediums. See if we can get the braking right down into turn one this time. As literally everybody comes out of the pit lane. I got the timing for this lap all wrong, and I just got everybody on their slow out lap before their hot lap in front of me, and they're just gonna hold me up, which was a bit of a shame, but oh well, we were only really here to practice this corner anyway. Felt a little better, but had that big slide coming out onto the straight, which definitely wasn't good. The corner entry felt okay at that time though. But I'm still having trouble getting the power down at the right time on the exit. His Lance Stroll just completely cock blocks me around that section.
Right, that front wing. It'll need replacing if it takes too much damage. Right, come in at the end of this lap.
Going to be much slower than our previous lap anyway, so there's no point in staying out. We'll just come in. I'm almost actually kind of hoping that we get beaten out time wise by a few people here, because if they can knock me out of the top 10, means I don't have to bother going into Q3, and I'll at least get free choice of tyre as well, so I won't have to start on the soft.
Car repairs have set us back a little.
Ah, no. We're literally just inside the top 10. The downside of that being we're now going to have to start the race on soft tyres, which I kind of almost didn't want to do. But on the bright side, it means we've went from crashing the car during qualifying and starting all the way at the back of the grid in Australia to having enough pace to... I mean, I only barely made it in past Gasly, but we had pace to make it top 10. So, you know, improvements have definitely been made between the first race and this race. And just because I don't imagine I'm going to be able to do much better than most of the people that will be inside the top 10, I'm actually just going to... I'm just not even going to take part in Q3. I'll save...
We're all ready for
save my
tomorrow's
tyres.
race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Bottas, Hamilton and Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, because even
With
my
qualifying
best lap's
complete,
been...
all that remains is the main event.
The
We'll be live
was
and
0.3 slower
uninterrupted for the
than
Grand Prix
Lando
tomorrow,
Norris's
so make sure you join us then.
lap in Q3, so there would have been no point. I would have just went out there and started wearing down a fresh set of soft tyres for no reason. So we can keep those, and then maybe they'll come in handy at some point later in the season, you know, when you need some soft tyres to try and be aggressive and catch some people in a race like 4 races from now. We'll have that pair of fresh, or that set of fresh softs, because we didn't use any in this qualifying. We might actually be able to get some points this weekend though, as long as we don't have any major crashes. Which, given given how our race went last time round, it's going to be quite a challenge. Let's just jump right into it.
The stage is set for another enthralling race here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. A Ferrari stronghold in years gone by, but will they be able to add to their record today? We go racing today around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Now, I want to talk to you about Valtteri Bottas. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Max Verstappen and Ricciardo, Albon, Sainz, Norris and Mr. Monaco, Gasly, Perez, Esteban Ocon and Stroll, Raikkonen, Kvyat, Kevin Magnussen and Mick Schumacher, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Okay, that's an interesting strategy that it's went with. I'm not sure how I feel about the 2 stop, to be honest. You know what? I think we'll trust. We'll trust in the game. We'll have some faith. I am going to turn my fuel load up just a bit though. Got another lap of fuel in there, just so that I can defend positions and make it better attacking moves by burning more fuel. And we'll do the we'll take the soft medium strategy then, and hope that it doesn't end up being our downfall. Well then, another classic poor start where I completely miss my braking point and just literally dive from everybody, and managed to damage my front wing almost immediately. But on the bright side, although probably somewhat illegally with that kind of move, we are up into P2. We definitely had our launches are pretty good. They've been pretty good both times, kind of, as I go once again really deep into the but Sainz just seemed to have a lot of trouble off the line in front of, or was it Sainz in front of us? It must have been Sainz. He seemed to have a lot of trouble in front of us, getting off his mark, which we were able to take quick advantage of, and then everybody else just sort of seemed to get held up by similar issues of people maybe not getting the best of starts in front of them and things like that, which just put us in a pretty decent position, as long as we can keep our defence on. I mean, Hamilton is just going to get away from us because like we took quite a lot of front wing damage into turn 1. So at this point I think we're just focusing on just getting some points, and the more we can hold up the people behind us, then the more we can more advantage we might gain when we take pit stops and things like that. So, and we do have one person out of the race already, as I can see. We got the Pierre Gasly's retired, and I can see his little dot in the bottom left on the map not going anywhere.
We've got a lot of spare energy. Use your overtake button.
Normally at this point I would try and like to create a gap over the first few laps of a second to the person behind me so that they can't activate the DRS once we get to lap 3. And they won't be able to use their DRS to catch me on the DRS zones. But given the quality of cars that are behind me, Leclerc dives up the inside into that final corner. I think keeping them a second behind me is not going to be a realistic target for us at the moment.
Use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Just need to try and defend their position as much as possible and see what we can do to stay out of trouble, because we can't really afford to take much more damage on the car right now. Because we're going to make it all the way to our first pit stop with this wing damage. Which means our first pit stop is going to be longer than we would want, as I go way too deep into that corner. And then almost lose the rear, trying to bring it back. But yeah, our first pit stop is going to be way longer than we'd want, because of the fact we're going to have to replace that front wing, which is less than ideal, but not a lot we can do about it, because we are really struggling in these low speed right and left handers at the end here, just because we don't have all the downforce available to us because of that front wing damage. I can just feel it, the car always just constantly understeering out, coming around those sort of mid-speed corners.
We're leading our teammate by 7.9 seconds.
Can't believe Bottas had the audacity to try and go around the outside of me into that corner. I mean, I know I didn't have a great run coming down to it and I was going a bit slow, but come on. Give me some form of credit. The AI just has no respect.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the softs.
We almost didn't get the car stopped in time for that corner there, but we got our position back off Bottas. This is not a point that I really expected us to be at after last week. Was in the top 10 fighting for 5th place with a Mercedes, but we definitely take that. Much improved. Although if a little bit ever so slightly unrealistic, given that, you know, they were a new team. So I might have to turn the difficulty up just ever so slightly. just to put us back as more of a proper midfield competitor, perhaps. But then again, we'll have to wait and see what how we're doing once we've got full performance back in the car and the wing's been fixed. Because I did kind of, it's not like I gained this position out of the car's particular pace. I did gain all of those positions off the start, mostly out of luck and a little bit of dirty driving into turn 1. So we'll have to wait and see how we're doing later on, once we've had our pit stop, and we'll get a better idea of what our actual pace is and whether or not we should make adjustments to the difficulty. Although given the way I'm driving right now, we should probably be turning the difficulty down, as I completely ruined that corner. Now we're all the way back to where we started this race.
Box, we're coming in this lap.
Forgot to turn that to yes. I was getting a bit worried coming into the pits there they weren't going to replace the front wing, but they have.
Exit now. Only one stop to go. One stop left in this strategy.
So unfortunately, because of the fact that we've had to have the front wing replaced and we've had a longer pit stop than everybody else to start off with, we are once again all the way at the back of the field. So we can definitely presumably just ignore all the comments I made earlier about turning the difficulty up. Because as soon as I said them, we dropped back like 5 places and then our pit stop put us in last. So we'll just pretend I never said any of that, and we'll just continue on the path that we're already on. But now that we've got some fresh tyres on the car and we've got new wings, so we've got much more grip around these corners, because we've got so much more downforce. I'm not understeering through them anymore. Hopefully we'll be able to make up some time on the people in front of us, and we can start to claw a few of these positions back before our next pit stop onto the medium tyres. So let's get to work.
The car ahead has come in to fit the mediums. Car ahead, now running medium tyres.
I suppose the good news for us at the moment is that it seems that a couple of the cars are either still rocking mediums from the start, or like Ocon, they've went on to mediums with their first pit stop, so they might have fresher tyres than us, but the mediums aren't going to have quite as much pace. So that means our soft tyres could work quite well here for a slightly more aggressive stint than what they'll be looking to do. We might be able to gain a couple positions on people that are using the medium compound tyres. As Ocon just comes across on me under the braking zone like an absolute psychopath. Starting to close the gap on this pack of cars in front of us. Seem to be fighting in amongst each other as well. And we've set fastest lap of the race so far. So the car's definitely got a decent bit of pace now that we have all our components attached to the car and functioning properly, which bodes well for us being able to pick up a few positions as we approach the back of this little pack of cars here.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
So we've got another 4 laps or so before we're going to be looking to make our next pit stop. So ideally we want to try and get past as many of the cars in this pack in front of us as possible before then. But I don't want to try and rush it too much, because that's when I seem to tend to make mistakes if I try and kind of force the pass too much. And I don't want to damage the car and completely ruin our chances, so try and remain patient until I find a good opportunity. Just didn't quite get him under brake in there. Wasn't quite enough of a gap to pass him.
We're increasing our gap on the car behind by around a second a lap.
And that's exactly what I was hoping to avoid. I missed my brake and ran right into the back of him, and then my front wing's damaged again. Ended up slowing down a lot earlier than I was expecting him
Check
to.
your MFD for a new
And I
strategy option.
just couldn't get slowed down enough in time.
Okay, copy that.
Yep. Oh, the car's got absolutely no downforce. It just did not want to turn into that right-hander at all. So we're gonna have to take a pit stop here, because the car is borderline undrivable. With this, like with the first damage at the start of the race, it wasn't too bad, but this is just horrendous. So we'll take the new strategy of pitting now and going on to the hards, and then hopefully we can stay out of trouble for the rest of the race and
Nick is coming in for his stop.
get some positions under other pit stops. But the fact that our teammate's coming for his pit stop right now could cause problems, because I might get stuck behind him if he doesn't get out quick enough. But the timing was good. This is probably going to put us all the way at the back again though, isn't it?
Release, release.
Yep, all the way back at the...
That was our last stop.
The
No
really
more
good.
scheduled pit stops.
I don't know if anybody else on the grid has pit stops left to do, but I've got to hope that they might do, because them making pit stops is kind of our only hope for gaining any more positions at this point.
Your car behind you has just fitted the hard tyres. Car behind, running hards.
Well, as I go too deep into that corner once again, at least we know we're not all the way at the back anymore. Because it would appear that Nicholas Latifi has made his pit stop to put on some fresh hards, which has put him behind us. So we have gained a position once again. Now let's see if we can gain a few more. I'm going to take the opportunity to apologise now if I start having even longer stints than usual where I don't talk, but I am going to have to actually try and properly focus up on this race if I want to try and make up
We're
some
starting to
positions
catch the
without
car in
actually
front, but we
making
need to
any
look
more
after the
big
tyres.
mistakes
We won't be making another pit stop.
and really try and push the car to its limit without going over.
Okay, you're creating some breathing space between you and the car behind by a few seconds per lap. Nice move. Good job.
At least we didn't get any damage on the car that time.
Gap to car in front is 3.9 seconds.
Looks like we might be having another miserable race here though. After such a good qualifying session as well. The races just really haven't gone our way all that much. I think I'm definitely going to have to make some improvements to my racecraft off camera, because I'm not very good at overtaking people, as it seems. I can extract the pace from the car quite well in qualifying, I guess, since we did
Battery charge is high. Let's use that
arguably overperform in qualifying, but really underperforming in the races at the moment, which is a bit of a bummer. It's not over yet though. Still got 10 laps to, or 9 laps now I should say, to try and salvage something. At the moment it looks like we've got Russell in front of me, then Grosjean, then Magnussen. So my goal at the moment is to at least get ahead of Magnussen, so that we can at least beat the two drivers for the team that we highlighted as our rival at the start. And if we can beat out Haas, even if we don't score any points at every race, or any of the races, if we can beat out Haas at all, if not most of the races,
Okay, some information on Magnussen. They have an
I'll
issue with
take
their
that.
car. They're going to be slow.
Well, that's convenient timing. Magnussen's having problems. Because both, if I remember correctly, both the Haas cars retired from the first race in Australia. So the fact that one of them is having some issues could be good for us here.
Okay, you're catching the car ahead, but remember, we need to get to the end of the race on these tyres.
Rear tyres are looking kind of worn, but that's just because I'm having a lot of problems with slide when getting the power down out of corners at the moment. So it makes sense that my rears would be a bit more worn than the rest of them.
Great maneuver. You made it look easy.
That's a bit more like it. Nice and patient, clean overtake, good bit of defending, and then we're out ahead and clear. Some more of those would be nice a bit more often. Every time, man. Again, we somehow got away with no damage, but I need to be more careful into my braking zones when I'm into someone's slipstream. I forget just how much extra pace you can come into corners with sometimes, and I'm just getting the braking all wrong.
Be careful, we think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now. We're trailing our teammate by 2.9 seconds. Okay, you're creating some breathing space between you and the car behind by a few seconds per lap.
Genuinely impressed I got the car stopped in time for that corner when I was so pushed in for a close inside right-hander. Magnussen really
We have 5 laps of
forced
fuel
me into a
remaining.
tight turn there by pushing me all the way to the right coming down that straight. But there we go. Our new primary goal complete. We're past both the Hasses. Now we just need to make sure we stay out of trouble and keep a hold of these positions. And if we happen to catch anybody else, we can just bide our time until we know we're going to get an easy, safe pass. It's not going to cost us all the positions we've just fought back for again. But with 4 laps to go, I think the only other person we're realistically ever going to Cass and our
Gap to the
patches,
car ahead is 1.9
our
seconds.
teammate just up ahead, given that the gap to Ocon and his Renault's up to about 14 seconds nearly. I don't think we're going to close that down in the next few laps.
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining. Our gap to the car in front is 12.8 seconds. There's only one lap of fuel remaining. This is your final lap of the race.
It's another win for Bottas. It's been an interesting first two races of the career. Both on the top end and for us down the bottom. Had some big crashes. Had a really good qualifying this time, so we know the car's got pace. We just need to translate that over to our actual race, and then maybe we'll be able to get some points. It's a bit of a bummer that we started from a point scoring position up in 10th, and we've kind of finished the race in 16th. But it's nice to see that Lewis Hamilton's not winning everything for once. Didn't even finish in the top 3 in Australia, and now he's on the managing to get second here in Bahrain as well.
Smiling faces on the pit wall after a superb win here at Sakir, and rightly so. What a brilliant effort from the whole team. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes. So, let's review the drivers' standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Now, let's discuss, Ant, who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I mean, can it be anyone else other than Danny Kvyat? His performance today really set him apart from the other drivers out there. He's got to be happy with how he's done here this weekend.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, good work from Racing Point this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
So we had four different warnings throughout that race, but Pierre Gasly retired with mechanical failure, which gave us an extra position, but unfortunately still no points. We did have some minor redemption from Australia this time round, though. We did manage to qualify better than dead last on the grid.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Yes, I was very much in control. I definitely didn't crash 3 times. Let's go with... Couldn't do it without a great team behind me.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
Well, we don't want to upset our power unit or durability department, because that's where we're going to be putting most of the upgrades this season, I think. So let's go with... we'll upset the aero department, I think, this time round.
Appreciate your time.
We have managed to level up our team and our driver that race as well, though. Got our 104k bonus for completing all of our practice programs. So yeah, as I was saying then, some minor recovery from last from the first race of this season in Australia. We got a solid 10th spot qualifying position, which turned into a P2 into turn 1. That was definitely 100% clean and not dirty whatsoever. Which then turned into us finishing 16th. So the race was a bit of a stinker. We didn't get a lot of stuff going our way during the race, but at least, like I say, we know the car has some decent pace from qualifying. So hopefully, in the next episode, where we'll be at the new Vietnam circuit, we'll be able to do a bit better in our racecraft there, and maybe even get some points. But until the next episode, I'll see you around.